this, just hopefully.
Okay. I'm really excited about CCSN come in, and that's because I think I've had the opportunity to spend the most time with them. We have had the opportunity to have Mark Palmieri here with us this year, walking around, and observing students, talking about, cohorts of students, that we would be, identifying as having by grades, which students need that intensive level of support. And beginning to craft what that's going to look like. So one of those pieces was the para training that we talked about. We've been working on a lot of logistics so that we're good to go for July 1. So he can, his team can come in, he'll really be here the week before, but they can come in and they can start really putting together very solid program books for those students. And with the staff that's working this summer, we're really hoping that as many of our paras, because most of the students in the intensive program do need one-to-one, that they will be working this summer, and we'll have an opportunity for everybody to get more training and time this summer so that when we start the school year, we'll be in a really strong place. So what I have seen from them, and I do want to explain, there's two sides of the house at CCSN, and Dr. Powers described it, I don't know if this is the right word, I keep saying this and nobody's corrected me, but it's a Chinese wall, I think that means they don't talk to each other, but maybe I'm using the wrong term. That's the way I remembered it in my head.
Chinese wall, to me, like those.
Right, well,
things.
there's a brick
Right?
wall
Yeah,
that, I
right,
don't
that's
know,
what it
there's
is.
some kind of
Chinese
wall.
wall.
Is it Chinese wall?
Yes.
Okay.
What is the name of it?
It means that the
The
two
wall.
sides are
Great Wall of
separate, they
China.
don't
Oh,
communicate.
okay, that's
Yeah.
different.
Great
That's
Wall
what
of
I'm
China.
So
thinking.
there's the evaluation side of the house, that's Dr. Powers, and he runs that, and then there's the school consulting side of the house, that's, Mark Palmieri, and I can, to speak my truth, I can say that, Mark, definitely doesn't, think the same way about everything that Michael does, so whether you like that or not, that's my observation. And he's very much, he's wicked smart, I don't know what to say other than that, he's very, very knowledgeable about what he does. So one of the things that's been, somebody asked me at some point in time is, well, why don't you just hire, another special ed supervisor in the BCBA? And I, so I thought about that, like, what would that look like? It would be maybe a little bit less expensive, but not necessarily a ton. The thing is with that is, there is a level of expertise that Mark's side of the house has in terms of building intensive programs, that people who work like me, I'm a generalist, not a specialist, do not have. As both as leaders and then for the depth of development that's needed. So I can see somebody who said something about, Dawn said something about generalization. That's something they have a really, that's one of my favorite words, Dawn, because it's the most important thing for our students is that they be able to do it in the natural setting. Their classroom, the lunch, the playground, and they really know how to do this. So that in a way, we could hire another special ed supervisor, and I guess I could try and fill that role and pull it together in the district, but I think we're better to have a consultant come in and get it all out of their heads and walk it through our buildings. I've already said to Karen that to me it's a likely outcome that when they're not here anymore, that we will probably need a second BCBA in district. So, it's my role to think future vision for this group and for the kids, that, this isn't gonna be a, like that we're still gonna meet, I don't wanna say get out of jail free thing, but there's gonna be an ongoing expense. It will not, BCBA costs $100,000 a year, but they don't cost 300, so that would be, but that's gonna be a sustainable, a cost we're going to have to figure out how to absorb. Yeah.
So the 300 that's being spent, it's my understanding that it's going to be centered specifically at Spalding to kind of go through pre-K, like a track, right? Because they're trying to finally create sort of a pre-K through 12th grade track. What happens to kids that are now no longer at Spalding? So 3 up, there's been all this retention issues, hopefully exit interviews following those. You know, all these different things are now going on with extended school year and things like that, and staffing. What happens to that whole group of children?
Great question. So our plan for McAllister next year is that our BCBA, who is housed this year mostly at Spalding, she is going to be housed at, she will still be attached to one team at Spalding, so she'll have the opportunity for the growth and the exposure to the senior BCBA, who'll be on site 4 days a week, back in-house day 5 to review cases, get feedback, and work with the master team there. But she will be, her space will be at McAllister, and that will be her focus.
But there already is a
There.
BCBA contracted to be there to fill that role, so that's not gonna be an increase in staff, it's just gonna be a change of staff, isn't that right?
Not necessarily. There's a BCBA who's there for a couple of children, but there isn't a BCBA assigned to that building.
I was at a Board of Ed meeting, actually my husband was, in which I think it actually was Dr. Paul Mary talking about it, and there was discussion about that. And he was very adamant that that BCBA had to be at Spalding. And then it got switched in the Board of Ed meeting, and Karen Barassi said, well, yes, we're gonna keep her at Spalding.
Well, that's not the last conversation I had with Mark, so he's clear that our plan is for her to be at McAllister, and for her to be at Spalding for, to be able to be a part of that team. So she's not gonna be 100% at Spalding, but for her to have an office there and be, working with kids there.
I'm
So what do we
confused,
do for
Nancy.
the other kids in
I
middle school and high school?
I thought that they were coming in, working with Jen and actually training staff, not actually giving direct service to kids.
They are.
So if we're removing Jen from Scott's building and she's going to Karen's building, what does that leave at Spalding but a BCBA that Mark's bringing in who is supposed to be giving trainings to staff? So I'm confused.
So,
Is that what you're getting at? Is that what you're
so the role of that BCBA is not just, so honestly, a lot of what a BCBA does is lead and guide staff. And they, but the person that will be here will be doing FBAs and helping write behavior plans and working on program books and analyzing data.
Will they be working directly with kids? Cause Jen works directly with kids, right?
Well, yeah,
So
I
that.
guess I
so-
better ask Mark that question, but that's my
Because
understanding.
you're leaving that building without a BCBA doing direct service to our kids. And if Jen's only on a consult basis, then it doesn't matter. But if Jen's doing direct service to our kids, we need
Jen
to.
has there's a couple of kids that have BCBA hours in their plan, but she doesn't do direct services. Her services are designed to be consult. So when you said to me, does she do direct services? She does what I sometimes do in a building, only she does it like more than I do. She will put herself in the role of the person working with the child to figure out what works and also to model it for the
Doing
staff.
side-by-side training with the
Yes.
staff.
Hands-on training.
It's all consult. She's not working
Which
directly
she
with.
still will be doing
So there
with
isn't
one
a
team.
parent in the district that has in their child's IEP direct service from Jen Maloney.
And she'll still be doing that with one team, just not.
So then it doesn't matter that she's going to Karen's building, cause there'll still be someone, it'll be from Mark Palmieri's
She'll still be part of
office.
Spalding to be learning. I mean, it's
Okay.
important that we help her build her skills. This is about everybody. This is about Diana and I learning, Scott learning, all the teachers learning, the classroom teachers who have these students learning, the parents learning, the related service. So the purpose of this model is, it's not about, this isn't an autism program. This is for students with intensive needs. So we're gonna be looking at it from a holistic, and it is not, Mark's very clear, it's not the centers program, it's Suffield program, they're the consultants. So the goal is gonna be, I'm still working on an idea for name, that would be something that I got when
Oh, you mean an acronym or something?
yeah, well, I didn't come up with an acronym, so,
Thank God, we don't need another acronym.
idea achieve, I don't know if people do achieve team, if, I don't know, I'm gonna come up with something, cause I thought that's really what we want is for our kids to achieve, so,
So if you're saying it's not for the autism population, you're talking about intense children,
Student
how
with
many
intensive
children in
needs.
Scott's building are you gonna plug into this?
Between 15 and 20. It could be a little bit higher than that.
How many did you
That's a
say?
big.
15 to 20.
15 to 20.
How many kids are
And how
identified?
many kids,
Sure.
how many kids
do
do
we
you
have?
have IEP'd in your building? No, I'm just worried about his, cause we're bringing it into his building.
I'm doing the preschool's like 24 or 25, so it was, at the beginning of the year, it was 72 total. So, yeah,
72 total, and out of that 72, 15 to 20 are going to benefit from.
Well, everyone will benefit, because they're training all the staff, but that they're gonna directly be working with those
Well,
members.
directly consulting for.
so
That's what
here's the
we're-
other
yeah.
thing too, though, is, that I'm,
Different.
trying to find ways to
Yeah.
leverage this while they're here, and I will continue to do this. So for example, the school psychologists are going to all have a 2-day training at the beginning of the year on all the school psychologists in the district on functional behavior analysis and behavior intervention plans. So I'm trying while they're here to get, anything that they are experts in out of them, and I mean, it's, that will be their focus, but I'm, as consulting partners, they will assist us when we're struggling. I mean, I see Mark being very appropriate in that way now, so, I get for the community, it's a big ask, that we do this. I'm really concerned about the services that we have for kids, and I mean, it isn't possible to come in and do it in the whole district because we can't do it with fidelity, and if we want I know you guys are the ones, who want the services for the kids, but if we don't, particularly every year, but the first year we're here, have a positive outcome and a success with this, then nobody's gonna want it the second year. So we really need to do it, and that's something we've talked about a lot, is we've gotta do this in a way that we do it really well.
I think what would maybe make the public or anyone more confident too is if, I don't think there's anyone having an issue with the fact that maybe it has to have a starting place. But I think there has to be a written or some kind of plan for everybody else. So like, this is what we're doing here because we see this large gap that we have, or these, issues in services. So now what does that mean for the 3 through 12 that are currently, existing? There has to be something that people can look at
I
to
don't know if
say,
you had a chance, but I don't know if you're aware of it, but I did a 5-year strategic plan of, a lot of the, they were things from the district goals and from the CREC report and things I had observed in the time I'd been here and heard from you guys and the district team plan of, the different things we're working to roll out in every building over the next 5 years.
I haven't, so I apologize.
We're
But I
gonna
guess
see if we have
I'm
it.
just saying that it would be good to kind of have, I think if you're saying, okay, we want you to spend this 300K on this, but this is what we're doing, this is how we're gonna tackle all these, the retention. Starting September 1, we hope to have all full staff. This is what the staff is gonna be educated on, this is how, I think people feel better knowing, kind of that piece of it.
I think the retention piece is a really good issue, though, that, you and I need to sit down and really have a conversation about and think about, as we look towards, new staff. I mean, we do have 2 staff that are retiring. Obviously, we're happy for them that they're at the place they wanna do that. But, we need to look at, that's why we're looking to get, high energy, committed, bright people, to come and join us.
And did they exit interview people that left so they can understand what their issues were?
Yeah, the people that left mid-year, absolutely, yes.
They did.
Yeah,
Special ed in general is a shortage area, so after completing the first year at the high school last year, and my background is special ed, I was a special ed supervisor and a special ed teacher, so we had a teacher, who had a second child and they moved, and so for proximity and family purpose, she chose to leave. We posted that position and we interviewed for that position 4 separate rounds until we had somebody that we felt was qualified to be able to come in and not only be able to service the kids, but to be able to complement. So this particular person that we hired has a degree in reading, and that's an area of specialty, which is a huge need for us at the high school. And so I think that just speaks to the fact that it's tough because we were posting that at the most we were getting was 15 applications. So it's tough.
You're on the high side.
It's tough because you don't get the same pool that you get like when you post for an elementary position. And then within that, if you really want to be able to have good services and have that be able to continue to service your kids but also grow your whole program in regards to that, you can't settle. And so I know that, you know, Karen was getting kind of, and Steve was getting kind of nervous, like, we have to have someone. I said, I know, but
Somebody great.
but we can't settle, and you know.
Yeah, no, and I definitely don't think you
Because
should.
once
I
you
think,
hire
I
somebody,
just
you
get
have them for a
concerned
long
because I think there
time.
has to be a plan in
Well,
place,
some of these guys are
especially for
being
there's such a large amount of people
No,
gone.
yes.
I mean, there's a lot of people gone.
And some of these guys are being hired as long-term subs, I'm
Correct.
assuming, correct?
Yep,
Because I would
correct.
hope, you know, I think the pool, I would assume the pool is better, not mid-year,
Correct.
and I've been told that by many administration, is not really ideal mid-year. The pool is best, you know,
Right now.
new contract year.
Right now.
Right now
So
is the
again, I'm
best.
hoping we're
Right,
gonna
right.
do due diligence in terms of some of the long-term subs that are in here, and some may be great, and some may not be. But again, I think we have
Not
other
just filling
questions, but I
bodies.
think
Right.
that this district really needs to look at internally what is going on, because it's not always that they're having a kid and leaving. And what is going on and why is that going on, and how are we gonna help retain good staff, and hopefully maybe weed out some of the not so good staff. And
So,
I
I
think
mean,
that's crucial.
One of the things I think that we're really doing, and, you know, was my message to, the students at UConn, the grad students, was, you know, we are really investing in our teachers, and I was able to talk with them about CCSN, about, the University of Kansas model, about the fact that, you know, we have all the materials that you need, in terms of testing, which you're gonna say, well, big deal, Nancy, but lots of districts don't. That we have really nice families, to work with, that are invested in their kids, that we have great kids, that we, you know, that everybody, you know, this is a caring community. I mean, one of the things I'm thinking too is, like, if this is something that we're, like, identifying as when we get to these good people, hopefully for the fall, is, do we wanna do something as a, I mean, I was so pleased with the meet and greet, like, that really touched me. I'd never had anybody do that when I came to a position before, it was so nice. Do we wanna do a SPEDPAC meet and greet for the special ed teachers to say, welcome?
We've done that, and I think that would be good once we hire them. Can we keep going here?
Yep, absolutely.
Thank you.
It's
Okay.
8:13 minutes,
Pardon me?
8:13.
Okay.
Put that over there.
This is a really,
I just wanted not to be.
a really quick one,
Me
there was, somebody asked a question about outplacement tuition going up from 111,000 to 306,000, and I couldn't figure out what that was for a while. That's actually revenue that we get from, the Hartford Schools for Choice students, so that's actually, money that we're getting. Somebody
Revenue's going up that
also
high.
looked at. I did look, however, for you, because, I thought what the question was about, maybe in somebody's mind, was, the increase in out-of-district tuition. So I did look for you, to see that, it's gone up it's gone up about, in the projections, so it was 670 in 14-15, 729 in this year, and then next year it's 798, and that's the figures after excess cost. So, which is excess cost is money we get back from, our calculations are projected for next year, but the money we get back from the state. And one of the things that we've done is because we wanna have every, penny that we can get for Suffield is, we've added, we've gotten, a lot of districts just do the kids that are in out placements, and they don't do, maybe you don't care about this, but I think it's good that we're doing this, because we're trying to get anything we can add to our, we're not buying dirt, but,
We bought it under $190,000. We took dirt and they're paying us $190,000
isn't that the best idea
to take the
ever?
dirt on the town side.
It's a dirt cheap deal.
Well, that's the best thing I've heard in a long time, so,
Do you have some more dirt?
we're now doing it for students in district, that there may be money to be gained from that too, so, we're trying to get every cent we can for our kids.
So I have a question about those numbers, because that's interesting. So is that a reflection primarily of tuition increase or more outplacement?
It's both. Both.
Okay.
The mental health needs, particularly across the district, but particularly at the secondary level, are really significant. And some of those children, really cannot be educated in the building. And there's a secondary piece of that for students that we have to, with certain issues that happen for students, we have to look at an alternate placement for at least a period of time. That are by, you're going to say this better than I do, by state statute, based on students who aren't expelled because of a manifestation of their disability. So we have a responsibility to keep the school safe. Did I say it okay?
Yeah.
Are we reducing one SLP? We actually never had that SLP this year, and I looked at the caseload sizes and I met with the SLPs, and they felt that their caseload was manageable. So that's something, however, that we're going to be doing when we look at staffing every year is, what are the, it's not just what can we afford, it's what is it that we need when we look at the needs of the students across the district. We also have said to staff that, so if the high school, we're gonna have the person that does the high school and the middle school, we're gonna have a huge more number of hours than the person at McAllister. They might have to go, it's not gonna be that you as a staff member are just gonna be in one building or another. We're gonna do what's best for kids. So we did have one of the special ed teachers, there was the same number of special ed teachers at the middle school and the high school, and there's significantly more kids at the high school. So we have moved we have a special ed teacher who has volunteered to go to the high school for next year. So, and curriculum administrators were doing many of the teacher evaluations last year. How has that been handled this year, and how has it worked out? So the curriculum leaders this year, got one in the room, are actually not administrators. They're under the teacher's contract, and it's designed to be much more of a peer and a coaching model and a support and not be evaluative. And that, I think the teachers have really embraced that. And that's why we're, we know with where our students' test scores are, both for general ed and special ed, for SATs, that we need to look at ways to improve our teacher skills. So that's why on the general ed side of the house, there are requests for positions in those areas, because we want to have instructional coaches at the elementary level, and we want to have more curriculum leaders at the secondary level. If you had a chance to be in any board meetings, or you looked at the board presentation, you would see that unfortunately we entered this year without a lot of articulated curriculum. And there's, I believe, I'm not going to say this right. There's been a lot of work done. I don't know if you want to say anything. You guys have gotten a new math curriculum together. You came to watch and you have to talk, but.
We piloted and decided upon a new math resource. So we're going to be working on implementing that next year. So that's going to be a big
Is that AIMSWeb you're talking about, or this is?
No, I'm talking about the math resource.
Investigation.
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 But were you talking about? I'm sorry. Were you talking about the AIMSWeb? web
Nope,
or?
no,
Okay.
I suck bet.
I feel like the question though was more related to how are they handling evaluations?
We have three
If
here.
it was
The
the
principals represented.
We absorb them,
Yes.
so the
We
number
have-
of people we evaluate increased.
I think the question is really,
Like
so who's
insurmountable.
doing the evaluations
Right.
in
And
place
how
of
is
the
it working
curriculum
out?
supervisor?
Yeah, like how is it
So in our
truly
building,
working
the
out
three of
when-
us, there's three of us, we picked up an additional 16 teachers between the three of us, and so we
Okay, but for
increased,
you,
and
who's one person?
Diana has assisted me this year with some of our teachers.
So one of the
Diane
things that we're
Pelosi, right,
working to
yes.
do that, I don't know where it is in process. We've been working with the teacher,
I just wanted to hear from McAllister.
oh, I'm sorry.
That'll be the last year of that, Scott.
Still a lot.
One of the great pieces of the budget moving forward is recognizing the need to have increased support within our preschool environment from an administrative lens, but also the teacher evaluation to support me.
Well, and
So I
the
don't look
professional-
like this.
And you don't say good morning.
And I don't say good morning
8
when
o'clock.
it's 7 o'clock.
So one of,
but the professional development committee is also looking at
Yes.
our whole evaluation plan, because it's not just, it's a combination between both administrative and teachers saying, this current system that we have is not working. So non-tenured teachers, you're looking at 6 observations on top of goal setting, mid-year, and end of year meetings. So before you even have observations, you're looking at 75 plus, because we're
Right.
all over
Oh,
20.
yeah. Right.
And so is that the most effective way for us to evaluate our teachers and to be able to have feedback that's focused on student growth and teacher growth? And overwhelmingly, we've all said no. So the good news about that is there is a new plan that's being proposed that has come from PDEC, which consists of teachers and administrators. And so personally, I'm looking forward to that.
We heard that
No,
about
no, 'cause I
the
think
Board
we
of
have,
Ed.
I think we're lucky enough to have some really great principals, and I wanna make sure they're being supported, adequately in the new budget, that's my concern, so.